Hello and welcome to another Electron Dance transmission. There we go, Snakebird has appeared. So I'm going to get on with this pretty quickly because I seem to set myself up for a lot of things to do tonight, and that's just the way it is, isn't it? Right, so first of all, Snakebird. So this came out in 2015 from Numenon Games, and now I've written a lot about Snakebird in, well, in the last year I suppose you could say, but actually I only wrote about it like in one article, and I alluded to its existence in a whole year's worth of articles. So the story goes, I tried Snakebird back in 2016, was it? After everybody said it was great, and I hated it. Hello Marcos. Nice to see you in my chat again. Sometimes I think I should take a picture of you guys, but I just see a picture of a camera. So Snakebird, I tried it out and I hated it, and I wanted to write about why I hated it. I wanted to understand why it was like loved and yet I hated it. And there was something else going on here, and I was having trouble with puzzle games in general. And so I had this idea of writing about puzzle games and really to try and understand my reaction to Snakebird, and I couldn't get anything together, couldn't get any ideas together. Well, just lots of little fragments of little pieces, and eventually I just thought I was just going to write it anyway. And of course I wrote this series. I had a better idea after I'd written the series about what I should have been trying to go for, and I had a better understanding of puzzle games in general. And then I thought, let's go back to Snakebird and find out why I didn't like it. And then of course I played through it and discovered I liked it. Yep, it's one of those old romance stories. Boy meets game, hates game, falls in love with game. Let's not go straight to this level. I want to talk a little bit about Snakebird first. So let's go back to the map. So I played it on mobile. Oh, I see. Yes, Mark is just saying he likes Snakebird because it caused me to write puzzle articles for a year. So, and Greg's talked about screwing that level. That's the one way through in the towel. I'm going to have a very brief chat about that one later on. So, Snakebird. The funny thing is, like, the first thing you see is this cartoony graphics, right? And this is kind of like, oh, hello, Elliot. And this is the one which is kind of, it's controversial, right? Not controversial is the wrong thing. It's conflict, and people find like, oh, it's very cartoony, it's very lovely, but at the same time you play it and it's kind of tearing you to pieces, these puzzles. It's all very cute. It's a little bit casual, although minimalist. You know, it's got that kind of bouncy quality, but you haven't got lots of things going on. Yes, Salty Horse. This is adult Snakebird. I'm not showing Primer today. That'd be so boring. And the thing is, I will say it's actually really well done, and you know, there's all little things you can play with, obviously, and it's a really nicely laid out. I really like the execution of the graphics of Snakebird. It looks nice. It works very well. It's very clear to see. So I can't fault that. However, a lot of people find it very kind of, you know, there's a friction between its cuteness and how hard it really is. And then when you look to the other side, we've got the other side of things. You've got yes, I found out that the real reason they made the cute graphics is to try and take away the kind of the edge of it, to make it feel like, oh yeah, my Snakebirds died, but it's actually okay, right? You know, because it's kind of cute. And I think that I'm not quite sure that's how it was received. So we've got Snakebird. It's one of those games that was made like it was made just to show me that I'm not as smart as I wish I could be. Yes, that was my initial reaction to Snakebird. Now, of course, I know I am as smart as I thought I was. So this, you know, goes both ways. But I really want to have a go at Baba Is You whenever I get a copy of that. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at the levels. You start off with 0. So I played this on mobile. This is I've been trying to get through lots of levels on the PC version. So here we go. You got your Snakebird, and the rules are pretty simple, really. Your Snakebird has to pick up the fruit. It gets longer every time it eats a piece of fruit, and then you have to get to the exit. And so this is the general thing: get fruit, get to the exit. All Snakebirds must be a living by the end. Salty Horse just commenting on Baba is You is easier than Snakebird, but way more fun. I know, it's very... So don't get me... I'm going to just stop this stream and go off and buy a copy right now. You just don't convince me to do something else. Okay, level number 1. So this is interesting because very first thing, you've got this fruit here. It's right in front of you. You've actually been... your Snakebird is angled towards it. You know, it's pointed to the right. This is what the next thing you should get. And you go up, and the first thing that happens, it's just wonderful. You're trapped immediately. And so it's a way of teaching you straight away that, okay, you know, you can get yourself trapped into a corner. And there's no way to do it. And they even got little graphics saying undo here, which doesn't really happen on any other level. It's like, this is scripted graphics here. So let's undo that. So you can't get that. Now, I also said in the articles that you get to play with these small Snakebirds with just 2 segments later on. And they're very difficult to deal with because they're very, very... they've got maneuverability problems. It's very difficult to turn them around and they can easily die. And the thing is, I didn't realize they were on this early level. I completely forgot. But to be honest, it's kind of a simple level, so I'm going to give myself a pass on that. So you have to get this one first, and this is actually quite tricky. So you might think about going up and around, but then you've blocked yourself. You can't go backwards into yourself, and if you go down, then you fall off. So you have to go back, and the way to do it is to go up. And the interesting thing that shows you there is the fact that it's the first step of understanding that when you get a fruit, your Snakebird doesn't actually move, and it actually turns out to be crucial in some levels where you have to get over the fact that you think you're going to move, but actually you won't do because you're getting a fruit. So you get through here. Now you're big enough to get this fruit, and out you go. Well done. Now, when I was playing this first of all, oh come on, all right. Yeah, there you go. When I was playing this first of all, of course, I was playing with these Snakebirds, and I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I feel that they feel very familiar to me now, but when I was first playing this, I was just going through the motions. It's very easy to finish these levels, and I remember getting stuck on some of these very early levels and going, I think I solved that, but I wasn't sure if I'd actually got all the heuristics in my head yet. I wasn't really understanding what we were doing. Now here's an interesting one. There is a fruit behind you can get, but there's absolutely no way of turning around. Now you're off there by 2 steps. You're kind of stuck. So undo that. So you have to get the one in the cave first. Oh. And so your first instinct inside the cave is to get the banana like that. And then you're compelled. You have to move left. Now you have to move down. And now you're dead. And that's pretty much, all that can be said about that. So it's another way of saying you can trap yourself. You need to be careful. So let's do it another way. Maybe I'll just come in like this. Ah, now it looks like we're good. And then you move down and oh my God, you're dead again. So if you go back, you could go in for the middle. Well, that seems awkward, but maybe that's the way it's going to work. Okay, do I go up and right? No, let's try that. Oh dear. Oh, and now it comes out. Now the thing is here, there's I find that even now difficult to understand what I should do. I'm still kind of doing Monte Carlo in my head. I'm going through, this is one possibility, here's another possibility. That's not work. What's the other possibility? And I'm not actually thinking, because if you watch there, my particular sequence, I went up, that's not going to work. Yeah, I went up, right, up, then I had to go another left, then up, then right, and I come out. That's like, what's that, 6 moves or something? I can't predict that in my head. So that's purely like throwing the dice there. The good thing is that there isn't a lot of Snakebird which is like that. There are some levels and some of the ones where you end up going through double portals and things like that. You have to be superhuman if you're actually thinking that far ahead. But, to its credit, Snakebird doesn't do this very often. Whereas when I come on to Pipe Push Paradise later on, I'm not sure you could say the same about that game. So I've got some love in the chat here about the Snakebird emotes when a near fruit or spikes. It's so good. I do like it. To be honest, when I was frustrated, I was like, what do you expect me to do? I mean, literally, stop giving me that stare. Don't get into trouble in the first place. We wouldn't have to get out of this situation. But I forgave them. Now, here's an interesting one. This third level, if you play this on mobile, it does not look like this. On the mobile, you start in the middle of this level. And I remember writing in the level, in the Snakebird article I wrote, Tail Meets Head, that you find out at some point you can actually use fruit as a platform, which is really interesting. But on mobile, on the PC version, they just throw it out to you, like level 3, here it is, you can squat on fruit, which is not in the mobile version. So that's why there's a sort of slight disconnect in the article. I remember Matt saying underneath in the comments that, yeah, there is a level where they teach you this. And I was thinking, oh, really? I've played Snakebird a lot recently. Are you sure about that? Well, on the desktop version, definitely. So anyway, so again, this is actually, because you're up top here, this is actually kind of like a very first gentle Tetris drop. You can't get down like that, and you have to basically fall down safely. You could try and just get the fruit over here, but you're just not long enough. Oops. You're just not long enough to do it. So you have to leave the fruit for later, and then fall down carefully. So it's the first example of a Tetris drop. It's a very simple one. You're going to get a lot more complicated ones later on. So Elliot says, I think some aspects of these early levels is just to introduce the notion that the movement is non-trivial. Yes. I think that's one of the things with this game and also Pipe Push Paradise later on. The big problem is trying to understand how snakebirds move. I mean, everybody can understand how they move, but to get that imprinted in your head and make it feel natural, like, oh, I need to do that, so I need to move in this way. And I'm going to show you an example in just a second of what I'm doing now, second nature, but when I first played this, I was probably struggling. So let's get that. Sherry, and let me go over here. Now, here's the thing, you can just go straight up, and if I do that, I'm going to fall in these spikes. What I do now by second nature, I know, don't even bother, just make sure I trail myself, what's the word, it's very efficiently over the spikes, because that will maximize the use of my segments to get over. If I go back one too many, I'm wasting my segments, and I'm going to fall down now on top of the spikes. And it's something that was not, you know, what's the word? It wasn't instinctive to me at all. I had no intuition about that. Now it's just like, oh, don't waste your time. Just go over it neatly, and of course, right back. Then I was struggling. That's the kind of stuff that looks so simple to me right now, but that's the stuff you really struggle with. And if you just whack through the levels and don't even stop to think about how you did them or what was going on, then you're going to get unstuck very fast. And so that was kind of like my revelation when I was writing the puzzles, the articles about puzzles, the Ouroboros sequence, that if I just keep on going and going, pushing, if I get through levels randomly, I'm not learning what I need to learn. And so you don't learn the very simple lessons, the building blocks. So we've got guys talking more about the snakebird physics in the chat, about they're intuitive, but actually they're not. The lesson is just this tree has more branches than you thought it did. It teaches you to be on the lookout for new affordances and question your assumptions. Yeah, I think the one that really throws you off is, of course, the one I call the snake engine, where you end up using a block to get over spikes, but you're pushing it, and it feels very unintuitive, but it's perfectly legal within the mechanics of the game, which you have understood at this point, but it feels so weird. So I think this is the first real proper kind of struggle. Super Mario World vibe from the world map, I think that's pretty good. Especially, I've never played Super Mario World. It's true story. So again, you've got to get down here somehow. Let's just start this again. They've stick you the wrong direction to begin with. That's the first piece of misdirection. So you might think, oh, I'm supposed to go, I'm supposed to go over here, and actually this is not going to work out. Trust me on this. So let's go back to the beginning. You're facing the wrong way, have to go over here. Never played Super Mario World. I know, how can I call myself a streamer? And then you have to get down onto this safely. That's not going to work. How do I do this now? I've forgotten how to do it. Come on, let's... No, that's not it. Is it from the top? I've had my platforming days. There you go. That's the Tetris drop you're looking for. You need to fall down a nice L shape. And then when you get down to the bottom, you've got to get this fruit. Now this is the one that's awkward. I think, not awkward. I think this is the one that gives you pause because you think, okay, well, if I go up, you're stuck, right? And you don't really have too many options here. So you will get it at some point. But I remember hitting this and going, well, I don't know. And I think the problem is you have to really stretch out to give yourself a gap to go back to. But that feels very, very wrong because your next move is going to kill you. But because you've got a fruit, you're growing. And it gives you that one extra move. It's very tight. It's very kind of Rube Goldberg-ish where you have to sort of... I'm not really sure that's, how fair that feels in terms of smarts. It's more of like you're running through the options and saying, well, what happens if I try this? And it's the one you least expect because it feels so dangerous. So I just wanted to go through a few of the early levels. We'll just jump ahead very quickly. I have had my platforming days, replying to Dano War 2014. I haven't played a platformer for a while. I mean, I loved VVVVVVVVVV, and I did Veni Vidi Vici, and I think that was the end of platformers for me. I never did Super Meat Boy. So this is number 10. And what I love about this level, I mean, having got through all the struggles, is that there's this drop here and it feels like, oh, I have to go, oh no, that's not working. And then even if you think about doing it this way, you think, oh, well, that's the way to do it. But actually, it's like literally impossible to turn around. You might think it's possible, but it's not. And this can keep you up for days. You're like, what the hell? How do I solve this? This is surely the way to do it. I have to be long enough to reach down there. And the truth is, it's actually a very sneaky Tetris drop. That's the way to do it. And it does not hit you for a while. And I think this is the first sign that the game tries to, the first way that the game tries to tell you that you should think about moving backwards. Now that's very interesting because the game has so far to this point said, you can't move backwards. We've put you in situations where you cannot move backwards. But here's the level that says, well, you can if you, at certain circumstances. And of course that becomes much more important later on when you have two Snakebirds and you have the ability to reverse park and push your Snakebird backwards. And that's when, going backwards, it becomes a move that the game allows you to express. Right. The way the snakes grow while eating is unintuitive, says Salty Horse. Their tail stays in place like it did when it stayed on the platform, and their head grows to eat the fruit. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Now it feels like I got it, but I think it's one of those barriers to how you play. One of those barriers to learning the game. So I'm just going to jump now to about the last one. Oh no, let's come off this for a second. Back to the map. I wanted to do 19. I don't even know what's on 19. 19. Ah, yes. So this to me is my all-time. It's emblematic, iconic, I guess, of Snakebird for me. It's a kind of level where I hit it first time and I thought this is completely impossible. How the heck am I going to reach that fruit all the way out there? There's nothing to stand on. I just didn't understand how to do it. I hadn't picked up the idea of the reverse parking mechanic of getting your Snakebirds to face in a different direction so they can come out of danger. So then when I saw this on my second run, I'd already got that in mind. I knew exactly what kind of thing I was supposed to do. It was still going to be a bit dicey, because I've got to get this snakebird, this red snakebird, to stretch out. And the only way he can stretch out is he's got to move forward, but I've then got to push him back. So this is kind of tricky, because if you start putting your green guy in here, he'll have a tendency to fall off. So let's try. Let's see if I can just figure this out. I did figure it out last night, but it took a few attempts. See, now this is the problem. If we go to the red snakebird, I've trapped him. The red snakebird can't move because the green snakebird is stuck around him. Very good. Good plan. There we go. We can... awkward playing with the keyboard. Now, if you try and just... Oh, no, thank you. Let's see if we can push it. Now, the problem is that green snakebird's going to die, so you just have to look at it and say, well, okay, how can I stop that? And there isn't really a way from that position. I think you're pretty much dead, because he's going to have to come up over the top of the red guy. And there's only one way to do this. And this isn't a move that the game teaches you very often, so I can understand it might feel a little bit unintuitive at this point, but I need to pull the snakebird up. I'm not sure I've got this in the right position though, so like something like that, but this isn't right, because when that green guy moves, the blue snakebird is going to fall. Maybe I get ready first here, and I can push him back once. Right, let's get the blue. Ah, I knew it. Blue guys are on the wrong way. Right, switched him around. Is this gonna work? No, it's not. Because I've trapped the green. The green guy's trapped the blue guy again. Right. Yes, that's a bit too early. Wonder if that's gonna work. 1, 2. No! Oh my god. Well, I'm not gonna push any further in this. If I go for another few minutes, I'll kind of figure it out. And I know that's that's actually the hardest problem, to get the red snakebird to be straight and pushed all the way back. That's what you really need. Yeah, I can't even push him any further. After that, the rest of the level is pretty straightforward, because you can get the green guy into position very easily, and then the blue guy just gets the fruit, and that's it. You're out. So I like the fact that level to me is the one where I realized I've cracked the game. You know, this isn't the same game anymore. I'm not the same person. I am now a snakebird expert. Of course, I had a lot more levels to go through yet, like this one. These star levels pop up here and there, here and there, now and then you get these star levels popping up, which are basically, you know, super hard levels, but you can't finish the game without getting through each one. And this is another one, like I just showed you, where it looks like absolutely impossible. What is the design here? How do you get from the right to the left? I mean, it's one of those levels you start, if I play with the stars, does anything happen? So I think the first time I looked at this, I thought, I have no idea. But when I came to it a second time, and I didn't start the star levels until I went through all the other levels, it was clear that the only way to get across was somehow get this frame pitched over these spikes at the top. These spikes I could hang this frame from, and it was going to be really awkward. And I swear to you, it really is awkward. It's not something I enjoy doing, and I'm not going to bother doing it now. And I was surprised to see the snake engine move turn up here, where you have a block and you're pushing it, and it wasn't over spikes, but it's through space. And it didn't actually take me too many attempts. The worst thing is trying to get everything into position, raising the snakebirds up and moving the frame onto the spikes here. But actually, it did kind of just work itself out as I moved across. Very, very tense level. You're thinking one false move, it's gonna fake. I got that you had to hook the frame onto the spike, says Greg, but doing it? Yeah, I mean, you have to be pretty comfortable with moving snakebirds around to crack this. And as I said, you know, if you haven't got, if the moves don't feel, you don't feel fluent with the language of Snakebird, then you're going to do what Greg did, and he says he tried and tried. I will say I did have problems with frames though. I was always a little bit nervous in levels with half frames, and some of them when they just worked themselves out pretty quickly, I was like, oh, thank God that's over. But there are other levels where there was the one with the sort of dumbbell ones. There's another one at the star level later, which I don't think I got unlocked in this PC version. No, it's not here. Where I was swearing at my mobile. I think that's all I want to say about Snakebird. I just wanted to take you through it. It's currently, if you're interested in playing Snakebird, if you haven't already, it's currently $4.99 on Steam, I think, and on mobiles, I think it's free to download, but with £3.99 to unlock the full game. So it's on Windows, iOS, Android, Linux, OS X, and just recently came out Snakebird Primer, and I think if you had problems with Snakebird, you really wouldn't have any problems with Snakebird Primer. I mean, I blew through it, obviously, but I think it does a good job to build up the mechanics. The only thing is, I feel like Snakebird Primer is here, and here's Snakebird, and you kind of want them to be together. This is kind of something I was saying in the series, that if you're having trouble, you need to be given steps from this level to this level so you understand what you're doing. But having all the lessons in here and then saying, now go ahead and pass your exam, is just a bit tricky, I think. So it might work for some of you to go up Primer and then take on Snakebird. But personally, I want a hybrid game. So I don't think that's going to happen though. But I think it's great that they've done it. So Mauricio says, you mentioned you don't enjoy playing with frames, and I think it sums up my experiences while attempting this game. Beyond the few simple puzzles, most of the game is about doing the type puzzles I don't enjoy doing at all. And that is interesting here, because that was my initial reaction. And once I started to get it, and we're going to talk a little bit about this with Pipe Push Paradise as well, that when you get through that wall, suddenly it's wonderful on the other side, and it becomes a very glorious experience. And that's what I had with Snakebird. It felt good after I started to put the building blocks together. There were a few levels which were maddening, and they continue to be maddening when I come back to them. But there's a lot of levels where I think, I know what to do here. It's this kind of thing. You know, it's not just memory, it's the fact that I understand what to do. And Greg says, Snakebird is the Snakebird of puzzle games, which is very true. Thank you to Numenon Games for giving me a key for the PC version. I paid for my own copy on mobile, but I just wanted to get the PC version so I could do it on the stream. Right, so let us move on to Pipe Push Paradise, which is a lovely looking game. And it's interesting that I actually, when I saw Pipe Push Paradise, first of all, I saw a trailer because the developer Corey Martin gave me a key. And I had a quick look at the trailer and I thought, that kind of looks like Stephen's sausage roll, and I'm not sure I really like that either. So I was at the beginning of my puzzle journey, if we were to put it that way. But now, having written the series and done Snakebird, I thought, it's time to do this game. Because I played Corey's previous game, Hiding Spot, which is on a couple of streams back. And I really liked that. Very tight, small puzzles with few components and crazy maddening. It's a bit different at mobile. Yes, I wonder if I was going to mention, Salty Horse said it's different at mobile, and I wanted to mention this as well, because I've played it on mobile, and I got the copy installed here just to show it off today. I actually, when I was going through Pipe Push Paradise, I got through most of it, and then I installed the PC version, and I started doing the levels again, which was a great help to putting the pieces together. So with Pipe Push Paradise, you get this on the PC, you get this sort of like open map. You can walk around and you can talk to people and things like that. But and there's but you don't get that on the mobile. It's actually, you just get this straight adventure map and click on the things, you click on the puzzle you want to go to. And it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't spot or whatever. Some of the puzzles are actually rotated. There's one later on which is vertical in the mobile, but when I came to it in PC after I'd done it on mobile, I was like, oh, I knew how to do this, but now it's broken it. So let's go back to the start. And this is let's just run straight through here. So it starts off as simple as soccer ball. And you just have to hook up, you have to connect all the pipes. I can't think of the right word for the spouts coming out of the ground there. I'm just, anyway, there you go. I connected the water up. That level's finished, very easy. That's just pushing a block in. So RBD Jellyfish asks, how does the game end on mobile if you don't have the open map? Not sure. You still have, there's no meta puzzle on mobile, not that I would know, still didn't finish it. I'm confused at this point. So on the mobile, you still get, once you finished all the puzzles, then you get the final puzzle opening, and then you get to play with that one. But is there something about the open map I need? That would make me nervous. I'll wait for a response to that. I'll move into the next room. Greg says, I think it's pipe flange. Is it? Are you the plumber here, Greg? Do I have to listen to you? Right, let's reset this one. Well, I have finished. I thought I'd finished. Oh dear, too late. I thought I'd finished Pipe Push Paradise, but if you tell me there's more to do, then whoops. Oops. Okay, so let me show you where the very second puzzle things start to get a bit crazy. Obviously, you need to get the pipes in the corners here, but they're oriented wrong, and that's because if you push them when they can roll, they will roll. So if I push them this way, obviously there's friction and they're not going to roll. But if I push them from this side, they can roll up and roll across down like that, and then go like that. So if I push that like that, and I push that down, and I need to do the same thing here. Which way do I need to press this? Yeah, there we go. This. Now, that looks very simple. And the trouble is, okay, stopping a second. Salty Horse says there's more on desktop, yes. Now the thing is, there's actually more levels on the mobile version. It says 50 levels on the mobile version, while on the desktop it says only 47. So I'm not entirely sure what the difference is. Now I've made that level look quite easy, but you need to work out that you can flip these pipes over, and that's fine. The level makes it very easy for you to do that. But of course, it's like Snakebird. That's not enough to really put that knowledge in your head, and it gets worse. You know, as we keep on going on. I mean, I love this level. So this one looks like initially you have to put these pipes beside each other like this. So let's see if I can get this done. Wait, switch that around. Does that work? Hang on, if I undo that. Yeah, I can. Haha. Maybe I screwed that up. Gets this back up. And down. I'm not going to talk about the details too much here, but just to say, okay, that's great. You've pushed into position, but you've blocked the exit. And there's a previous one like this as well, where where it blocks the exit, and you can't push those into position from underneath. And this is one of those levels where if you don't understand the logic, then you can get a bit stuck for a second. However, it gives it away with the name Archway, and you are supposed to do it like this. You have to have it sticking up in the air. So whereas you might have thought that the pipes were just there to... This is not going to go well. Let's start again. Right. where you might have thought that the pipes are supposed to be just like you turn them up in the air just to roll them over. This one is the first level where you have to have the pipe stuck up in the air. So you see the problem I'm having. Every time I knock it up and I roll it down, then it bangs into it just rolls down again. So how am I going to fix that? Can I? Oh, I'm not doing very well here. Honestly, I did this like in 2 seconds flat last night. Right. Maybe I will just push it down. So this is the other way to move things around without making them roll. You can just push them with another piece. Okay, now let's try and get this in position. So I've got to roll that up. Move it down a little bit. Of course, when I move down a little bit, that happens. Oh, I need to hit here to roll it up. Now, can I get that to work? Not doing... No. Maybe if I roll it here. Yeah, there we go. So another way to stop things rolling is when you can make them fall down against another pipe. And so because they can't go down, they'll stay up. And now I've got that in position. Will it go? Yes, just. And so I now have the levels added, the pipes added on top. The PC version is 55 levels if you count the bonus levels added in the update. Does the mobile version have those? I'm not sure, Moksmo. I guess I have to do some more analysis. I thought I'd finished. I was getting ready to uninstall the game off the mobile. So this is your introduction into putting everything together. No pressure, but your grandfather's in a coma and nobody on the island can drink fresh water until you fix these pipes. That is very true. That is very true. They do explain that on the mobile. So Elliot says, the experience with Archer is a bit iffy. He actually just left the puzzle and came back later because he had no idea what to do. Now, I must admit, I actually got Archway pretty early on. I knew what I had to do was to stick it up, and I got it quite quickly because the name gives it away. But you can see, I was still struggling a bit to get the pieces into position. And that is the thing about Pipe Push Paradise. It's the same problem that Snakebird has. How long is it going to take you to understand the mechanics, to get them to be ingrained in your head? I still have problems with this one, 6-point turn. It's very simple and small, but you won't believe the number of times I just go like, well, how do I get that to turn around? There's not enough space, and I get so lost in this one. And it takes such a long time to really understand, to get fluent with the pipes. And for me, it took me like 3/4 of the game. Understand what that means? That's 3/4 of the game. I was kind of just half random, half sort of understanding what I was doing. It was kind of very messy. And then when I finally finished it, if I got through the 75%, it was in place. I started to understand it and I had a great time after that point, even with the tough levels. So that's what... Spoiler, the mobile version is 66 levels. What? I have no idea where those come from. Okay, I'm gonna have to open up. So, okay, sorry, I'm gonna have to stop this now. Okay, I'll have to come back. So Elliot says he wasn't comfortable enough with the mechanics to feel he could prove the impossibility of the flat solution. That's true. I'm only being able to feel like I can understand the flat solution is impossible now. And when he came back, it was obvious that there was no flat solution. And that's the thing. I left a lot of the earlier levels. It's very true. Some of these very early levels, like these ones in the corner down here, are listed as hard. I left all these 3 hard levels until much later in the game because I just could not understand what to do. And it actually gets suddenly easier because they start introducing a new mechanic. So you go up here, and you get this room in here. Let's see, slow. I struggled in the first wall a bit. I liked how the archway took me a couple of tries. After that, the experience shifted to something much smoother. Okay, good for you. Marcus Don says, this Pontibus has only 3 mechanics and 2 ways to die, so it does not have these problems. Just kidding, it does. Yeah, I get so lost in that game. Moxmo, I played it very recently. I only finished it like about a week or two ago, so I'm not quite sure where the other levels are. I finished the final level and it seemed to be done. Maybe I should just dive back into it. So let's have a look at this one. Reset it. And it's very easy to understand this level. The pipe is in the wrong direction, so it's obviously something to do with these panels here. And there we go. You just put the panel, just put your pipe on one of those panels, touch the other panel, and it'll be lifted and rotated. Easy. And you think that's what these puzzles are going to be about, but it's not. They're not about the rotation. They are to some extent, but that's not really what the crux of them are about. As Hoist makes clear. Hoist, here, these pipe flanges are raised. They're actually up in the air. They are not on the ground level. So your pipe has to connect up in the air. Now, you're not going to struggle too much with this because the level is tight enough and you get the idea pretty quickly. If I push this pipe onto that spot and keep on turning around, you can see that it's lifting up the pipe as it does the rotate. So, well, what happens if I put a pipe in its way? It's lifted and deposited on the pipe. It's now off the ground floor, and I can push this in. And that's, one of those mechanics where you think, oh, this is gonna hurt, isn't it? And that kind of raising mechanic is used an awful lot. Let's see what we got here. The people outside. So let's, you get a lot of stuff where they're all really about raising, really. There's some about rotating. And I'm still very proud of my nice, neat Citadel solution. It's actually quite simple when you figure out the kind of sequence of moves to do. Oh, okay, so there has been some confusion. That's true, yeah. Have you noticed these symbols when you go into every room? You see it says a blue little house, and this one down here says what? It's a little round circle. These are actually the difficulty level, which it's very explicit on mobile. It lists the different icons, what they mean. But I have noticed, you're right, it doesn't actually tell you here, does it? So then you get pits, as you can see there, which is not simply about the fact they will drop into the holes, but actually when the pipes turn, they can actually rotate into them. So when you've got a pipe and it will actually rotate down into a hole. That doesn't happen that much, to be honest, but it happens in a couple of really awful levels. Clockwork was the last level I had to face, which involved this kind of problem. This is the one, I got stuck in this for a long time. And then you've got, so I want to say, even now, right, Sunken Path, that star means it's an expert level. The basic idea of Sunken Path I got very quickly. I knew how to do. But what you're left with, that looks like that's a serious problem, but it's not. Once you figured out how to connect, once you know what to do with those like big pipes in the middle, you're left with this one. And this pipe here is the one that causes me so much grief. Look at that, see? That pipe is ready to push straight into position there. You push it and it goes down into the hole because it rotates and flips down. And so, I mean, even though I'm very experienced in the mechanics, that pipe causes me so much difficulty. And I really have a hard time. And I tried doing it again on the PC version, and I haven't managed to crack it yet. I did it on the mobile, and I was like, good for me. But still haven't done it on the PC version. I need to have another go and try and finish it properly. And then after this, you get the, they throw in magnetic pipes, which attach to each other. which is really interesting. I do like that mechanic, and it has interesting impacts on the way they rotate as well. Makes it horribly complicated. But it's another set of skills you have to learn. That really puts a spanner in the works of how you understand the game. And of course that all combines to the last level, which is kind of crazy. This is not the last level, by the way. So, Pipe Push Paradise. So, Saltior says... Oh yes, there they are. The icons are there for easy, medium, hard, and expert. There they are. I was concerned that the last level was going to be... You can see it in the top left there. I was concerned the last level was going to be one of those horrible, massive levels with loads of things thrown at you. But actually, I really like it. It's quite elegant for a last level. I knew what I had to do. I did scream a little when I saw it, and it didn't take me too long to get through it. Now I'm wondering, Elliot is saying the last level of this game is so good, and I'm wondering if we're actually thinking about the same level, because everybody starts talking about the bonus levels, and well, anyway, I'm talking about the one at the top left there. I do love that level, and it feels very good when you've achieved it. And I showed my son, like, I've done it, look at that. I said, how do you get the pipe up there? It feels so good when you get that done. Level 47, yes, level 47 in this, and it's level 50 on the mobile. So here's an interesting one. Moxmo, I didn't like Sunken Path because the visuals made me think the correct solution wasn't an option. That is an issue I have with it. I didn't want to talk about it too much because it's kind of spoiling it, but I know exactly what you mean. The solution of Sunken Path is a little bit... The mechanics don't suggest it's a possibility. You just have to try it and hope it works. And to be honest, in the mobile, I wasn't even sure that I'd actually corrected it up right, because there isn't great feedback when you've actually connected pipes up. So it was a bit of a fingers crossed when I put the other pipe in the corner. Jellyfish, RBD Jellyfish says Clockwork took some pretty intense working backwards in solution. It does indeed. I'm going to leave Push Pipe Paradise there. I enjoyed it, but it took me 75% of the game to get through and enjoy it. There was a lot of grief, and I wasn't sure if I was going to carry on. And there was a moment where I was thinking, you know, I had this feeling in Snakebird, and I wasn't expecting to experience it again, feeling kind of lost. But I was glad I pushed through because, you know, like that last level is fabulous. So I will leave that there. Thank you to Corey Martin for giving me keys for both the mobile and the PC version. It came out originally January 2018, and it's currently £5.79, I think, ish, depending on the platform. It's on every platform, I think. You've got Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, PC, iOS, OS X, everything. So if you want to play it, you have no excuse not to play it, I guess. M. Van der Vander says, I always imagine they're gas pipes to kill people because the game makes me feel sad. Oh, hello. Hello, Halo, to Eddie Riofa. What was I going to say about something about the gas pipes to kill people? Maybe think of something. The game makes me feel sad. Nope, thought is gone. I should just move on. And we're going to go to the machine at the heart of the world. So anyone who's played this will have to be quiet in the comments. Oh, it's the train of Sogomans. Oh no. Okay, so let's quit this. Alt F4, my friend. Okay, so this should just start. Let's see. Okay. Whoa, what happened there?
The world stopped.
There we go.
That change that rippled through the entire planet, maybe even all of reality, and
I'm gonna have
left
to move my
humanity
head.
confused. The time of day was frozen. Plants
I'm
would
just
change,
gonna have to let this run.
animals would stay around the same place, machines became indifferent. And whenever you changed something, it would come back to the way it was when no one was looking.
There's no instructions really to this game. Not proper
I
instructions.
was a researcher, one of many who tried to understand this change, but our work was fruitless.
Brexit the
wouldn't
game,
work, and
I think
results were
Salty Horse is trying to say.
While we worked in our laboratories, the world went through all types of chaos and apathy.
So this is machine
After what
at the
seemed
heart
like
of the
decades
world.
of wasted time, I found myself traveling the world, reaching the barren deserts of the Arctic.
Which is from evidently Cube. Or Marisi on
This
the
is where I found
on
the
the chat.
entrance to a cave that took me to the center of the Earth.
And it's been out for about a year now, February 2018. It is free.
I did not know how I knew it, but as soon as I laid my eyes on the enormous machine, I knew it was the root of the problem. A mechanism that avoids understanding was ticking silently. The first one to greet me was its caretaker, a dried-up body of a small man, his left temple horribly broken. Then I noticed the stone tablets mounted on the walls, inviting me to touch them and
Does sound
discover their
familiar.
secrets.
Eddie Riofa says the voice
Perhaps the
actor
world can
sounds
still be
familiar.
fixed.
Great.
Let's try to decipher these symbols. Looking at the tablets, I get the impression that they are control panels of some sort. Perhaps the glyphs are instructions.
So, I just want you to experience what it was like for me when I first played this. So, anyone who's played it already, please be quiet. And so, I'm going to ask you to suggest what I should try. So you can see that I've got, on the bottom left here, I've got QW. These are the keys I can press. And we've got the arrows in the middle, those are the glyphs. So if I press Q, I get an arrow going to the top left. W is up, E is to the top right. Okay, and then you got that. Can we click on the turning cogs? No. The only controls you've got are these keys here. S, by the way, gives you this sort of circle in the middle. So, anybody want to suggest what they'd like me to try and put in? It's kind of Twitch plays, but like with a dungeon master. It's just like the book AWXD, presumably. Yes, so this is the first puzzle. AWX. Wait, AWXD. Okay, let's just go for that. AWXD. That looks right. Let's try that. Okay, so that's the first one done. We move right to walk to the next one. So, any suggestions for this one? It's going to be a satellite delay between me seeing you seeing my response in the chat. QQQCCS, enter. Let's try that. Okay, that's good. And then, I love this. It's like, I remember seeing this, and I was like, what? What do I do now? And I stared at this for a long time, and I entered a lot of stuff in. So let's just see what you think. That's QQS, enter. All right, try that. I'm afraid not. Computer says no. QXW. Afraid not. QWQSW. Let's try that. Oh, well done. So, yes. Does anybody know what the rule is now? Have they seen that? So, and there's a delay. So the rule is, yes, left to right, top to bottom. What does left arrow, right arrow do? Just change puzzles. Yes, I'm going to come to that in just 1 second. So, yeah, the rule that this level is trying to say is you have to go from the top left to bottom right, like, you know, scanning down a computer screen. I suppose there's sort of a clue in the fact that it's instructions, I guess. But so left and right allow you to select the different levels. You can't. Right is to the next one.
Isn't it a number 1 in Gujarati, an Indian language?
And if
I wish I could have access to a decent library right now. It would make it easy to verify.
Oh, a book. A computer screen or a book. Yes, Salty Horse. That would be a lot more appropriate. Yes, you read it like ordinary English words. Anyway, you can go left. Now the thing is, this is very useful, as I think I mentioned in the reverse sequence, because sometimes you get several levels ahead and you're not very clear on you think you've understood a symbol, but you're not 100% sure. And you just need to sometimes look back at your previous levels and say, hang on, did I really understand what I did? I spent so many times zipping back and looking at some of the more other levels later on where I thought I'd misinterpreted a symbol. And that's what I was saying about this is a great game for reviewing. It's all about reviewing, deciphering the symbols and reviewing. Press the number 1. 1, I'm afraid, is not on the keys. It's all just like those ones. So S is the circle and all the others the arrows. SS. Oh, SS doesn't work. CS from Greg. Does not. Okay. S. Enter. Ta-da! Yes. S by itself works. You just get one circle. I won't go too much further because I think I'll let you experience the rest for yourself, but I guess we'll leave it with this puzzle and see what you want. Any ideas for this one? Okay, so Eddie Ruffa is going Q, E, Z, Z, C, C, C. Okay, let's try that. Well done. There you go, yep. Salty Horse, where's the puzzle? So, the puzzle is slowly trying to work out how, so these are not every time you get a new symbol, you have to work out what it means. And then you have to work out what it can mean in other contexts. So for example, these symbols all next to each other. What are all these? You see 1, right? But is it 1, 1, 1, 1? Is it lots of 1s? Is it just 1, 1? Or what? And then you get other symbols and then you figure those out and how do they combine and how do they affect each other? And there are some very tough puzzles later on where you're like, there's a screen full of symbols and you're like, I do not understand what I'm looking at. Yes, it's a hunky dunky dory. Yes, it is like deciphering a language. So this is Machine at the Heart of the World. It is free to download. And tell you what, shall I just give you the link if you're interested in playing it right now? Well, obviously not while the stream's going. There you go. Oh, Maurice, you beat me to it. Okay, so I will stop there. And I really enjoyed this. I did it over a couple of sessions. It's not incredibly long, but it does get quite fierce later on. And I like the ending to this very short game. It's the kind of thing I like. So I won't go any further because if we keep on going through it, it'll just, you know, spoil the fun of you trying to break it, crack it. Some people find this very tough, and I think Maurice had to create a hint book you could download in Google Docs to give you extra additional hints to get through it. But you know, you can already feel, okay, it feels a little bit mathematical, so you go on from there. So there you go. That's a free game, which is a lot of fun, and I like the way it encourages review. I think that's enough puzzles for now. Gestalt OS. I don't think I know what Gestalt OS is, but there are definitely other deciphering games I should have played over the years. Okay, I'm going to bring up an old favorite. Oh, hang on. This should be. There we go. So. How long is Machine at the Heart of the World? Asks Eddie Ruffa. I can't remember how many levels there are. It's fairly short. I did it in a couple of sessions. recursed. We're going to take a moment out to just see a little bit of action now. So you saw the if you remember Jumpgrid, I did this a little while back. This is now the commercial version, which came out last month. It's improved. It's longer. It's got lots more levels, and the progression is a lot more simpler. So you have to pick up all the cubes and then go to the middle, and you jump. You don't move, smoothly between the spots. It's a jumping mechanism, which is very important, and you can jump over the sides. So this is a lot easier than the first Jumpgrid was. And the great thing is, it's not as like psychedelic. Before it would flash an awful lot and it drove me mad. But this is a lot easier on the eyes. So, and you can get a lot more progress without like going crazy. But as I think I probably said before, this is very much like, well, I guess it's a Twitch game in the mold of Super Hexagon or something like that. But it's a lot about muscle memory and going through the actions and trying to figure out how to do the right dance steps to get through a level. Is he done? I won't play this too long because I did this before on the other stream before. There we go, I did. I always forget I can go off the edges of the grid, which is important later on, like here. Oh, I missed one. There we go. Yes. Right, we're going to stop there. I think that's all I really need to show you, that if you were interested in Jumpgrid before, this is a much more... Oh, I'm an idiot. Sometimes doing them quickly is a lot easier than like taking your time, especially later on. There's actually boss levels as well. At the end of every segment, there's something which can only be described. Oh no, that's idiot. Something can only be described as a boss level. This is one of my favorite levels where you think, oh, I'll just take my time, and then that happens, and like it takes over the entire screen. So let's come out of that. Right. So yeah, if you're interested in Jumpgrid, this is a game which is easier to get into compared to the prototype, and I think there's a lot more levels. I've got it like into the third. There's like 4 sections. I've got into the 3rd section, and it's just getting harder and harder and harder. So I'm taking what Salty Horse has said there about not doesn't seem as stressful as Super Hexagon because you can retry the pattern level again and again. Yeah, I haven't played Super Hexagon because it seemed like the kind of game I wouldn't want to play. But I take it that's just randomized, right? But it shows you the sequence, it's different. Well, of course, Jumpgrid is much like try again, try again, try again. More like V, where you have to figure out the correct presses, jumps to make it through the screen. Well, you don't really jump in that game, but you know what I mean. So let's come out of that and go back to puzzles. Why not? Right. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at Overlink. Oh, sorry, that's Jumpgrid, which is about £3.99, I think. Available from on itch and Steam. That's from Windows, Linux, and OS X. There we go. I think I'm in the right position for this. Okay, so this is Overlink. So I'm playing the version which is available on Congregate at the moment. Let me move the Twitch window so I can actually see the chat. Oh, hi, Romanos14. So now, I believe there's a version of this on iOS and Android which I haven't tried, and I think they're free without IAP. But so this is Overlink from Spritebox, which seems to have just come out from yesterday. Someone's leaving this stream to do another stream. As a competitor leaves the room. Have a good one. So in here, it just you need to collect the blue tiles like that. So you have to just make a line between the blue tiles like that. Fine. Ta-da. On to the next one. And the other rule is you have to cover all the tiles. So that's not going to work. So if I go like this, okay, end of level, that's done. As you can see, there's not that many levels along the bottom of the screen here. Okay, one right answer. So let's try and figure this out. Nope, that doesn't work. And let's try this way. There we go. So we're still kind of learning the rules really here. So now we notice that we can rotate the object as well. So now we have to go all the way around. Now that you don't see underneath, you can't see underneath, so there's never going to be any spots underneath. You don't have to worry about that. Hunky Dunky Dory says the mobile version does seem to have a lot of different levels. Yeah, I get the feeling that the mobile version is bigger, so I might give that a go in the near future, because actually I quite like Overlink. So this one's a little bit more tricky. And I found that Overlink was the kind of the game, it looked to me like something I would hate, with all this kind of 3D and trying to remember where everything was. And fortunately, the levels don't get, at least on this version, they don't get huge. I have a good feeling for each level, and even though some of them are tricky, I can usually work out what to do. So we've got to cover everything, so let's do that. That's not going to work. So maybe I go around like that, maybe? Nope, that's not going to work either. So we definitely have to come around like that and go up like that, maybe. Yes. There we go. So I've got a feel of it now. I've played a lot of the levels, so the levels seem more straightforward to me. We've got one more complication to come yet. It's a pretty obvious complication, but we'll see how it goes. So we can't do that. That's obviously going to be the end of our level. So here's an interesting one. So if you do that, that's not going to work. So this cannot possibly... we can't have this come out from the side here. So the only way to get these two spots is to come out from this square and go around the other way. So how's that going to work? What I particularly like about a lot of these levels, so that's not working, is that I go coughing again. Is that you feel that I feel like I can patch my solutions quite easily. That if I've made a mistake, I can actually fix them. And a lot of puzzle games are not like that, because your mistake is like about 10 moves ago, and you're going to have to rewind all the way back. And to some extent, I don't feel like I have to rewind with this game as much. Sometimes I can just, you know, take apart the solution and patch it together in the right way. So, how's that going to work? I need to end up on the top there. That's not right. I think it has to be something slightly different, doesn't it? Nope. If I go down like that, it's still not doing it. And we have to end up there. So obviously that going across like that. It's Nicole's number link in 3D. Number link. That doesn't ring any bells. Sometimes I'm on these streams and I'm thinking, I know all the thing about puzzle games, and then people throw out the titles and I'm like, whoa, it's gone. 3D Witness environmental puzzles, they would get way too hard, way too fast. Yes, they would. I need to do something completely different here. This isn't working out at all. So do I have to end up there. Maybe it's like, no. Now if I do that, I block myself. I know I have to come around that way. Maybe I'm just ending up copying the same thing I did just now, aren't I? And I end up with the same problem. Oh God, I'm so struggling with this now. Well, like yesterday, it was like no problem. I have to come out there. Let's try and do it the other way. That might be easier. Because it looks like you're almost forced to do the solution this way. This is where it changes up, doesn't it? Let's wind that back. Okay, that's not working out. Over the top there. And there we go. That's the trick. It's that bit there. That's where the little trick move was. A lot of it was constrained, but that was the place where I had an option. Can you draw partial paths anywhere? That's a good question. It's only from start to end. That's correct. There's kind of a reason for that. Let's move on to a later level where it becomes clear. Because you have multiple colors, so you have to join the green up to the green, and the blue has to join to the blue. Again, filling every square. I posted a new Snakebird 21 reply to fail at Taylor Meets Head. If you care, I don't blame you for being sick of that level. Well, I just feel bad. There's a lot of comments on the Electron dance site at the moment, which I just haven't had a chance to really get into. I'm wondering if people are still waiting for my responses, or whether if I write them, will there be anybody there? But if people are still writing new comments, then that's good. But so maybe I'll have a look at your comment later, Moxmo. Mauricio says something about an old Flash game called 3D Logic, a game he made called Lynx in Game Maker. And these, I guess, these are similar to this kind of game. I must admit, this did not feel like it was the kind of game that would appeal to me. But actually, it wasn't too difficult, and I got through all the levels like in one sitting, and really had a good time. So, you know, feel free to have a go at this. This is free on Congregate. So, let me get my web. Nope. I'll get it to you in a moment. Right, let's come off. All right, so what happened? I'm having so much trouble with this today. Right. Let me. It's the trouble when you do more than one. Let's just a handful of games. So many things can go wrong. Let me give you the link to Congregate for that one. There it is. A bit like Flow on iOS. Flow. I feel like I know what Flow is. Flow. Amber Thorne has just mentioned Flow. God, I can't remember it. Moxmo is complaining about the arbitrary drawing in Cosmic Express. But you can have stranded track segments when deleting the tracks. That's true. How did I find Snakebird Primer? Yes, I did mention it earlier that with Snakebird Primer, I found it was very, very easy for me. It was very easy. I think it's good for people who are having trouble with Snakebird, but if you've mastered Snakebird, you will breeze through it. Right, let me get my windows back in position, and I can get ready for the next one, which is Fold.
Was a bird.
Now this one is a bit of a wild card, because I haven't played that much of Fold. I played it a bit on mobile, and I kind of disliked it because it only had one undo. And a game like this, you really need multiple undos to kind of like learn, you know, get that all going in your head. Oh, we're running behind time here. My God, it's 10 to 11. So you really need to understand how all the different moves are working. So multiple undos are vital to learn a game like this. And you had one undo, and it's like I can't do this anymore. I was having to restart the level every time I made a mistake. Now the Steam version has full undos. So this is I could say this actually came out originally, from what I could tell, in 2013. So it's quite old actually on iOS, and it's came onto Android more recently, and then Steam just recently. So thank you to Jumpgrid for giving me a key for the game. If you have to pay for it, it's about £2.09 on Steam at the moment. So let me show you what kind of game it's like. More undos than Microsoft Notepad. God, Microsoft Notepad, all right. Do I have to? Oh, level 12. Let's reset the game. Yes. Start again. Sorry, I'm half reading the chat here where you're all talking about Snakebird and stuff. Okay, so the basic mechanic. It's a tutorial level. Each level with just one block of only one color. And when you click on one of these arrows at the end of the line, it will just basically, I guess it's fold up. Level done. That's it. So you have no idea why this is going to become difficult yet. So again, now you've got two different colors, and you can do them at the same time. You don't have to wait for one move to do another. Now, here's another mechanic. Connected blocks are dragged together. So if I was to do this and that, you can see it's not. The level's not going to end properly. I got two green blocks at the end of that. So let's go back with our multiple undos. And so, because this is connected, I can pull these together. And then I can do that. And then because all the greens together, I could do them all in one go and leave me with one block. So, one thing I found difficult to understand when I was first playing, and I'm hoping I'll get the idea of it when I play a little bit more, is I was never quite clear on where these connectors came from, because they actually appear later on. When you start pulling things around, you find that some of these strips connect up, and I hadn't quite got the understanding of how that happened. So I'm still a bit adrift on that one. I've got as far as level 27, and I still haven't quite figured that out. So we've got to get these red bits together so we can use the yellow to pull this red piece along, and then we can fold up the red piece. Here's another tricky one. Well, tricky, it's not really that tricky. These are really just telling you what to do. So I can pull that in, then I can do the yellow one, and I've got the red one to do. So again, these are quite simple. I actually found that when I was playing it, I was going through them really, really fast. Okay, so this one looks a bit more chunky, but you have to bear in mind, you're thinking, I need to put the colors together. I need to get this red with these reds. They've got to be connected up somehow. So if you can look at this arrow here, it's connected to the red one, so I should be able to pull it down. Now the thing is, I've also got to put the blue together. So before I get rid of, I could get rid of the red from this direction, but it's going to leave this blue orphaned up here. So because it's connected, of course, you pull it down. It's a very straightforward level. I mean, you're not going to get very confused by it. So Greg says it reminds him of Kami, kind of consulting shapes to remove them. Oh, Maurice is off to bed. Yes, have a good sleep. I need to sleep too soon. Yeah, I was never going to play for the whole thing. I was hoping that other people would have fun with it. Have a good night's sleep. So when you look at this level, it looks immediately kind of like mad, but it's actually quite simple. When you start to see, if you see the colors, the structure of the colors, you can see like the red is all joined, the yellow is fragmented around here. You need to pull that yellow in, and then hopefully you can bring the blue in afterwards. So I want to bring these yellow bits in here. So now the yellow is all combined. Now I've got to make sure I bring the blue in. So this blue, these are connected. And now the puzzle is done. Well, I say it was done, but apparently I couldn't press the mouse properly. It's yeah, it's interesting you say it reminds you of assembler, but there's still more complications to come. So now we've got this kind of arrow piece which grows, and so you can reach out. So they fold and expand. So you can expand, reach out, and then you can fold. Assembler fuses. Easily done. Like I said, a lot of these levels are very straightforward. It has a very gentle learning curve, but remember, a gentle learning curve doesn't necessarily mean you've actually learned anything. So I've got to about level 27 and it's driving me insane. I need to go back to it at some point. I haven't finished the first chunk of the game, which is 30 levels. Okay, so how would I do this? Let's see if I take those out. I've got to get this out the way for that to work. Let's try the red. I'm more worried about this blue. So luckily it's got a green in the way there. That should work. Ah, that's an interesting one. So you see how this is what I'm talking about. The connector appeared, and I'm still not quite sure why the connector appeared. I mean, it sometimes appears, but sometimes it doesn't. Does it expect you to multi-touch at some point? That is something on my mind. Salty Horse has asked whether it needs you to set things off at the same time. I don't know, but it's my suspicion it might later on. Yeah, Moxmo was saying the potential for timing puzzles is scary. I am also scared. I haven't got that far, as I said, into the game. So if I do this way, it should complete. Connectors appear when you shoot a block into a block of a different color, right? Maybe. I remember finding it very confusing sometimes when they were connected, but they didn't, and sometimes the connector would disappear, and I was not clear why. It probably is a very simple rule, but I was confused. Most of the time it worked like the way I wanted, but occasionally I'd have to undo a step because it wouldn't do what I wanted. So I think you probably have to join those up. Yep, just make sure this is a bit more of an exercise of making sure things are getting out of each other's way. Well, we're almost out of time. So I'm going to leave it here because I know this is the kind of level like, oh, I'm going to get this wrong, aren't I? I think it's actually fairly simple, but you know, this is the kind of thing where you do it in front of the audience and people go, whoa, your puzzle skills are rubbish. So if you find that interesting, you go for it. As it's about £2 on Steam. You can get the mobile version. I can't remember if the mobile version has got undos added to it now, but the Steam version definitely has. That's Fold from Once a Bird. They're currently working. Once a Bird is also working on another bigger puzzle game called Outsider, or is it The Outsider? It's one of the two, which is it's got lots of different kinds of puzzles in it. I played it at Res, which looked kind of interesting. It's got a kind of narrative, a story like you're a robot or whatever, put yourself back together, but it's like got totally different puzzles all the way through it. So it looks like a very expensive game to make. I did tell them that, but looked potentially interesting too. So that's Fold. So we'll move on to our last puzzle of the evening, which is Mitoosis by Lucas Leslow, who I might be pronouncing this incorrectly, of course. I just make the names up I see on Twitter. So this is Mitoosis, which is free. It's you can play it on Windows, or you can play it in a browser. I'm using the Windows version here. It's available on the itch site. So this is just a nice little puzzle game, which I enjoyed. I'm going to go back to the first level. Okay, so Mitoosis. Right. So this is just tutorial level. So we just drag across. Ta-da! Okay, level finished. So of course the idea is, what we're getting here is that we have to fill the level up. So we just drag and fill. That's just teaching you how levels are completed. So you could probably do the same thing here, and then what happened there? So the problem is The problem is, it's like the anti-match 3. If you put 3 in a row, they'll disappear. Hunky Dunky Dory's obviously played this. If you put 3 in a row, they'll just disappear. You can't have 3 cells of the same color in a row. So if you do that, it's fine. It's just if they're in a line of any sort, not that they're connected or next to each other. Again, the game doesn't explain this, but you can work it out. And some of the mechanics took me a little while to grasp. Petri puzzling, says Greg. And this one seems very obvious to me. Just fill up both sides with a different color. And then you get something like this. So you can't just fill up both sides of one color, because obviously if you do this, you're going to get 3 in a row. And you're back to square one. I will say I got confused between these two symbols an awful lot. I would press this, which is a restart, and this, which is undo, and I would go like, oh, I just want to undo, and it would restart, like, oh, So the solution is to make something like a little step either side to avoid having 3 together. Z to undo. Now he tells me after I finish the game. So this one's interesting because obviously you can't do that. Pressing Z, it's really good. So what happens, this is a new mechanic effectively you haven't seen before. What happens if I try to grow the red one into the yellow one? Well, they just move along. So that's fine. Now this one's a lot more tricky because, well, okay, I've got a 4x2, so, and I start on the left, so how am I going to do that? So if I reach over there, I lose my blue, lose my greens. So I can only do that, right? If I do that, I push it along, great. If I push another blue one in, then that's not going to work, so maybe I'll do the green one there. And then if I do the green one up there, that's going to fill it up. If I do a green one up there, that's fine, but I need a blue one there, right? So how am I going to get it to go there? Oh my god, and now I find out it's impossible to undo a restart. Mind blown. So the thing is, then you have the next kind of mechanic to do with the pushing. What happens if I push cells into cells which have already filled up the space? So if I push a blue one here, what happens to this green cell? Well, it simply vanishes, simply goes out. So when you keep on pushing, the cells will simply just die and go into the edge. Now it's easy to do. Oh, this one's quite easy for me. I think it's just like that. There we go, steps again. I think this is one that could cause you a lot of difficulty trying to figure out how to get the cells. How are you going to fill these cells up in the middle? It's got to be asymmetric, right? Now, I don't want to go too far into the game because I don't want to show you all the levels, but you see these dots here. These dots go all the way up to the top, and there is a second level, if I remember, second layer of dots too. So there's quite a lot of content here. Let's see if I can figure this. There we go, that'll do. I'm really, really comfortable with the mechanics now. When I was playing this, I was very kind of like, huh? I don't know, do I push this here, push that there? But now I've finished the game, I'm just very kind of comfortable, because some of the later levels are absolutely, I mean, they're fierce. So it's like, I don't know how to fill this space up without like losing the colors and things like that. Please don't tell me there's a secret third and fourth layer of dots. Let's see, this comes out like that. Yeah. Let's undo that. Maybe if I push that there, then I get rid of the 3 problem with the reds. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it feels so much more. I can't even explain what I'm doing. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, I know. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get 3s anywhere. There's another mechanic which comes up later, where to complete the level, you have to fill certain circles with the color of the cell color of the circle. So there will be a red circle, and you'd have to put a red cell in it. A yellow circle, you have to put a yellow cell in it. And that's a bit different because that's more kind of like, don't just fill up the space, you actually have to achieve a certain kind of positioning of the colors. And they've like got the colors all the way over here, and then you've got the circle here, and you're thinking, that how can I make the distance? So this is actually a lot of fun, and I would really recommend it. And the puzzles do get quite difficult in the later stages, and I did have to scream a few times. This was not done in one session. This took several sessions to get through. It's not a match 3 game. You definitely would want to be matching any 3s in this game. Oh, unless you're doing it deliberately. Can't remember if there's any levels where I needed to actually deliberately set up 3s disappearing. I don't think I did. Right. I'm going to leave it there because there's plenty of content there for you to have a look at, and it's free. You're not going to lose anything from doing it yourself. So let me just grab the link there. Not being very good with doing the links. What's going on with my... There we go. Stream. Oh. I've lost my chat notes. Honestly, it's terrible having... There we go. It's terrible having all these games. You've got to do sound tests for every single one and remember how to switch them on and off. And I have different buttons to do the different sound levels for various different games. And it's a wonder this all comes together. Then you have a game which doesn't work on game mode but on desktop mode. Anyway, such is the life of someone who tries to put about 10 different games on a stream. Let's move on to the final game, which is not a puzzle game, which is Critters for Sale, an not as yet unfinished game. So let's get that up. This is a beautiful game, but it has a problem. Be interested to know what everybody thinks about that one. Okay, last but not least. There we go. That took a while coming up. So this is Critters for Sale, and this is by a developer called Sonoshi. This is available as a pay what you want from Sonoshi's itch.io page. You can play it on Windows, OS X, and Linux. So this is effectively... good night, Eddie Riofa. I really need to go to bed soon as well. Anyway, Critters for Sale. This is effectively, it's a choose your own adventure kind of game. It's a twine type of game. It's a branching adventure, but it also has a little bit of point and click aspects, which you will find out soon. So let's start. It's nice. I mean, it looks and sounds lovely. This is wonderful. Oh, the witness has destroyed Marcus's appreciation for birdsong. He thinks of witness every time. So there are meant to be 5 different episodes, I would put it. Only first one has been made so far. Takes a moment. So in this episode we are Sergey, age 27, and the date is November 2033. And it says our location is a Limelight Club, New York, but that's a bit of a lie because you wake up in your bed, not in the Limelight Club. So, it's lovely. I love that. So your phone's ringtone disrupts a good night's sleep. I'm not going to pretend I understand this game. I just want to make that very clear right now. You take out your phone to check the message you just received. Oh, it's Michael Jackson. Meet me at 4 a.m. in the Limelight. You. A text message from Michael Jackson. Ha. Must be Chris and his lame attempts at humour. Do you satisfy Michael Jackson's request? leave the comfort of your bed to the Limelight Club or go back to sleep. Well, you can feel free to choose going back to sleep. This is not the end of the game. We was not going to say, oh, well done, game over. So, I've never been to the Limelight, but it's just around the corner, so I should just check what this is about. Here it is. And then there's nothing, right? And it's like you're waiting for some text to appear and it doesn't. That's because this is where the point and click aspect comes in. You actually have to click on the club. Enter the club, yes or no? Yes. And again, now I'm feeling a bit of that slow jazz. Always makes me feel a little bit Twin Peaks, doesn't it? So again, nothing down here, so we have to be up here. Now, notice these arrows here? That's well, it just means go back. So you can go backwards. So you don't have to just keep on going forwards. So, there's an entrance. Click on the guy. It's interesting, it doesn't tell you it's a hotspot. You notice that? It doesn't go, woo, press me here. It's just, you'll have to click on it to find out. So, the reception says, good evening, welcome to the Limelight. How may I be of help? We're 10 minutes over. And you say I was invited to the nightclub by someone calling themselves Michael Jackson. May I have your name? Sergei Volkov. It's not the guy from No One Lives Forever. Volkov. Oh yes, of course, you're listed as a VIP guest. VIP. 1 minute, Mr. Sergei. We will escort you to the entrance of the club. Actually, I'd like to discover the place myself. Where will I find the entrance? I think we know where the entrance is. It's through that door you see over there. Traverse the corridor and you'll find the door leading to the lobby. Okay, well, let's go into the entrance. Advance, yes. And then you've got this corridor. You can go back, of course. This door is locked. Door is locked. Okay, I guess we just keep on going forwards. Advance. Okay. Alright. Right, let's just keep on going forwards. Continue along the hallway, yes. Okay, yes, advance. And then you're starting to wonder, okay, is this going to go on forever? Is this like, you know, because it doesn't really seem to be, I don't seem to be making any progress. So am I supposed to go back? Is it a maze? And no, you just have to be a bit more persistent. So here we are at the lobby. Proceed. So here we are. And you can just talk to the people or listen in. I think it's listening rather than talking. A beautiful night, but at what cost? What does this person say? Their legs were slender and their abdomens yellow, making me believe they were exotic bugs from somewhere exotic. You know? So me being who I am, I decided to let them bite me. For science. Trust me. Those little, oh, swear word, had the worst of all bites. The worst. And so me being who I am, the tough yet prone individual who can't take no swear word from mosquito. Wow, there's a lot of swear words here. I'm not gonna get myself banned. I pick the mosquito pulp and savor it. There's John Cleese as well. Right, so it actually tasted good. The best I've tasted as far as mosquitoes go. Well, it doesn't compare to the taste of a snake. Finally, the critter is mentioned. By the time she had these exotic undertones in it. So, you can obviously go through all the different people, and I'm going to jump to the person which moves us forward. But I want to make it very clear, there are a lot of choices we haven't made in the game already, and there is more content you haven't already skipped. So, approach the man with the suitcase. I will indeed. Yes, Michael Jackson. That's right, we actually have Michael Jackson in the game. Now, I first played this, what was it, a couple of months ago? And that was before the Neverland documentary came out. And now Michael Jackson features as sort of like he's an important character in the game, and I'm guessing a positive influence in the game. And it's like, well, that's kind of awkward, isn't it? Considering, you know, Neverland came out recently. So I'm just thinking, you know, like Kevin Spacey, after all the revelations came out about him, that's it. He was out of the picture, right? In this last series of House of Cards, he was gone. And it's like, well, this is a little bit tricky, isn't it? It's a little bit like having, you know, Jimmy Savile in the game. So I wonder how this is going to impact the development of this game, because I'm pretty sure Michael Jackson is going to turn up later in the other parts of the game, not just this one. So, you know, tricky one. But the amount of work that's gone into this game is really impressive. So let's just proceed. It's a bit creepy, I'll tell you that, when he does that. Oh, Sergey, you found your way here. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm doing great. Such a beautiful night in this club with beautiful people in it too. How do you like the limelight? It's mesmerizing. Clubs in general invoke the claustrophobia in me, yet I feel at absolute ease in here. You know, from the outside it looks damn near impossible for it to accommodate that long corridor. I must have walked miles before getting here. It must be in the TARDIS. Indeed, it's a long walk before you reach the inside, but it's worth it. The music that plays here is timeless. Excuse me for asking, but how do you know me? I don't think we've met before. You will remember soon enough. Remember what? You and I share an intimate friendship in a future you haven't lived yet. Well, I don't understand. You and I will become friends in the future and you somehow know that? I don't just know it, I've seen it. You've no idea what you and I will go through, and even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. The most fascinating trips through space and time, the civilizations will meet and the lives will change with time travelers, Sergey. I really don't think I'm the person you believe I am. Are you sure you're not somehow mistaken? Sergey Volkov, a 27-year-old taxi driver who lives right around the corner. Isn't that you? Are you Sergey? Yes or no? Again, I will leave you to explore these choices. I'm going to say yes. Yeah, that's me. So if what you're saying is true, then you're the same Michael Jackson from the past. You don't believe me? Did you really think I was an imposter? That's Michael Jackson's voice I'm putting on there. No, not at all. I believe you. It's just hard to fathom all at once, I guess. Be patient, you will soon find the answers when you meet the Noid Men. They should be here shortly. Now, I have to get going. I'm performing a dance tonight. There on stage? Yes, the Noid Men will show up after I'm done. I hope to see you in good shape when we meet again. And then we get a dance. Space Michael from Space Channel 5 is back for the future, says Greg. So, I just love the craziness of this game. It's like, what is going on? And if you explore some of the other branches, you're going to be even more confused. Do not expect any understanding to come out of the other branches you explore this game. You're like, it's not enough information there. It's just more and more complication. There is an end to his dancing. There we go. Romanos14 says, I love it. It is, it's, I mean, like, what's coming next, right? You're just like, I don't know what's going on here at all. What's going to happen next? What? The second Noid Man says, your time is up, Michael. What is going on? I must be dreaming. Kind of what I thought, apart from the dreaming bit. Michael Jackson says, Sergey, you're not dreaming. I will be seeing you soon. 12 years from now, your second daughter's birthday. Toodle pip, which is definitely the kind of thing Michael Jackson would say. I guess that's Michael Jackson. The second Noid Man says, welcome back to the club, old friend. So, I'm just going to leave it here. And feel free to just, you know, have a look at it yourself and see what you think. I mean, this scene here is exactly why I downloaded it. I saw a GIF of this and I was like, I have got to see that. I've got to find out what the heck this is. So we're actually very close to the end of this particular branch of the story. But there's a lot more branches to explore, as I said, and none of them really make more sense, although we do hear more about the Noid Men, I will tell you that. So I think that's a good place to stop, because we've overrun by 20 minutes. That sounds like the 80s Matchbox beeline disaster. I wish I knew what you were talking about, Greg. So we'll leave it there. I hope you had a good stream tonight, and I think maybe next time I'll try and do like less games just to make it a little bit easier myself. Good God. Maybe Naissance C, or perhaps if I get through Eastshade, we'll do an Eastshade session. We'll just have to see. Oh, I want to do some of Marsh Link stuff. You know, what's it called? Fugue Void. Right, I will definitely sign off now. Goodbye, everybody. And this may be the last stream I do from the European Union, so enjoy it while it lasts. Toodle pip.